Oh, I'm dying. Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Megan Tennant, in case you didn't already know that, and I've got a new video for you guys today. It has been a hot second. We generally post 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Obviously that didn't happen this last week. That's because I've been sick. I've had a cold for like 2 weeks, but I'm recovering. I can talk now, I have a voice, I can breathe through my nose. Those are good signs, and we're gonna do a video today. So this video is actually a suggestion that came over from Twitter. So Miss Jennifer T. Jarrett tweeted that she wanted to see a video covering the topic of when to accept defeat and when to push through it. I'm actually gonna be splitting those topics into 2 videos, so we're gonna do one video on when to just push through it, and then we're gonna be doing this video. If you guys want to make a recommendation for a video, you can always tweet at me, but if you want to get to the top of this stack of recommendations, you can always check out our Patreon, patreon.com/CloudKittenChronicles. There is a suggestion box there which goes live every month. Your support means the world to us, and there's tons of cool rewards. We just revamped it for December, and yeah, so we're gonna be covering 11 signs that you should dump your work in progress. I do want to remind you guys that you are gonna hit rough patches with every work in progress that you work on. And if you drop a work in progress every single time you hit a rough patch, you're gonna die unpublished, because that's just part of the process. But it isn't always going to work out. Some work in progresses you just really need to dump or take a break, or in some cases you just really need to run over it with your car and then burn it and then piss on the ashes and then throw the ashes off a cliff, because some work in progresses just really need to die that much. I do recommend you always save a backup somewhere. Maybe right now you're angry at it and you just want to see it burn, but there may come a time in the future where you want to reuse something from it, or you just want to look back and see how far you've come, or do a reaction video to your old writing. Why do I keep snapping? I keep doing that lately. I need to stop. Okay, so sign number 1 that you should just dump your work in progress. You're in it for the money. Now, don't confuse this with wanting to make money off of a book. Obviously, if you're passionate about writing, you're gonna want to make this a career, which means you're gonna want to make money off of your books, because writers have to eat. But if you're only writing because you want to get as rich as good old JK, then get out now, because that's so incredibly rare. You'd probably be better off scratching lotto tickets, honestly. Sign number 2, you're in different phases of life. Maybe your work in progress idea is just something that needs a writer who's written multiple books fully through to publication. But here's the great thing about work in progresses. It's all yours. You can walk away and write other books, experience other books, and come back, and it's still gonna be there waiting for you. So just take a break from this work in progress. I've done this myself. I have another series idea that I really want to tackle, but I'm making myself finish the 7th River series first, because that other series idea is really ambitious and I need to pull off some things in it that I just don't think I'm quite ready to pull off yet. Sign number 3, you're only sticking with it because your family or friends love it, or you're scared that they'll judge you if you leave it. If this is the only reason you're writing your work in progress and deep down you really just hate it, it's time to put it in a car and push that car off a cliff and call it an accident. If you're not brave enough to just tell your family that you're not into this work in progress anymore, just say that you're not experienced enough as a writer to handle this work in progress, and you'll get back to it eventually. And just keep telling them that every time they ask until either you die or they die, whichever comes first. Sign number 4, you aren't the same person who fell in love with it. Writing is a very personal journey, and as fictitious as it is, it reflects parts of who we are. And if we very suddenly change, or the work in progress just takes so long that we've evolved throughout its life, we might find that our new self just isn't compatible with that work in progress anymore. And sometimes you can change your work in progress to bring it to where you are, but sometimes the core of the work in progress itself doesn't mesh with who you are now. So you're not going to be able to put the same heart and soul into it, especially if you're a really young writer and you're first writing this when you're like 13 or 14. That's a time in your life where you're changing very quickly. So if you work on this project for even as long as a year and a half, you're gonna find that by the end of it, you're a very different person than when you started. It's completely okay to just start something new. Sign number 5, you should just dump your work in progress. You're doing it because you like to read books and therefore you feel like you have to have a work in progress. Okay, look, I get it. Books are awesome. Many of us really love to just crawl into a pile of blankets, grab a nice huge hardcover, and just go at it late into the night, way past our bedtime. The vast majority of us writers are also readers. But just because you read or love to read doesn't mean you're ready for a work in progress, and it definitely doesn't mean that you need to have a work in progress. If you enjoy writing, then yes, go for it, write. But if you're only doing it to see your name on a book, to see your book in a store somewhere, or to see your name on some bestseller list, those are the wrong reasons and you won't end up happy. 6, your work in progress isn't what you thought it was. Sometimes we start a work in progress and we get to know it more and more, and we find out that what we thought was exciting and innovative is actually just boring and overdone, or maybe what you thought was enough content for an entire book is actually more like enough for a short story. It happens. You can never really tell where a book is gonna end up until you start writing it, and it's okay to just admit that this work in progress just isn't gonna work out and to dump it. Sign number 7, it's hurting you. You deserve to be happy, and if your work in progress is hurting you, it deserves to be mauled to death by mewling kittens. Or a more violent death, because honestly that death doesn't sound all that bad. I mean, if I'm gonna die some way, being mauled to death by mewling kittens doesn't sound like the worst way to go. So here's the thing. Some writers write to deal with personal trauma. For some people, it's very therapeutic and it can help them recover. But for other people, writing to deal with trauma just digs up those memories and just makes it worse. If working on your work in progress actively makes you feel depressed or sick or triggers PTSD flashbacks, then it's time to murder that bitch and just move on. You can still weave little aspects of your trauma into your work, because a lot of times that's a part of who you are, and so it's gonna make it into any book that you write. But you don't have to write a whole book centered around that trauma, and it's almost never a good idea to do that. Sign number 8, you're in love with its brother. Let's say you start a work in progress and it's almost perfect, it's almost what you want, but it's just not quite there. But then one day you have an idea for a different work in progress and it's just slightly different, but that difference matters and it makes it perfect for you. Is it awkward to throw out a work in progress that was almost perfect for one that's just a little more perfect for you? Maybe, and depending on how much work you've put into it, maybe this isn't the right choice, but this is a book, not a person. It won't judge you, it won't be unhappy, so do what makes you happy. Sign number 9, it needs more work than you want to or are able to put into it. This one's tricky because all work in progresses need some work put into them, and all of them are gonna need you to change them up a bit as you go, as you hit later drafts. So this really depends, and it's truly a matter of measuring how much work this work in progress needs to succeed versus how much work would go into putting into a new one to get it to that same place you are right now. Because remember, there's gonna be also a lot of work in starting a new work in progress, and that one's probably gonna hit some issues too you're gonna have to work through. But some work in progresses are just beyond help, and in that case, it's okay to just throw it out and start on something fresh. Number 10, you're only with it because it's hot. Fairy porn is top of the trends right now, and now you're 30,000 words in and that trend is dying, and you're just not really into this work in progress anymore because maybe you weren't here for the long haul. This is just a fling because it's what was all over social media and it's what all of the new released books were about. So here's the thing. This is a scenario where, yes, it's good to dump that work in progress, but only if you can trust yourself to go on to pick a new work in progress that isn't just the next hot trend. Because here's the thing, you're never gonna be able to truly keep up with the trends. They happen so fast. Hitting trends is just a matter of luck. If you try to chase them, you're always gonna be just a little bit too late, and it's just better to go and do something original. And last but not least is sign number 11. You're just staying with it because it was your first. It's been years and this was your first work in progress, and you just feel like you owe it to that work in progress to stay with it till the end, even if you don't really believe in this idea anymore. But here's the thing. When we first start writing, we're often young and we don't know very much about the craft. So it's very, very likely that you would have started with a work in progress that just isn't quite right for you, and that's okay. And just because you have fond memories with it and there's nostalgia and it taught you how to love writing doesn't mean you owe it anything. If you want to leave it for another work in progress that better matches the writer you've become, then do it. Vast majority of writers don't bring their first work in progress fully to publication because generally speaking, that idea was not our best one. So don't be afraid to leave it behind and look back on it fondly. Alethea had a couple early draft versions that technically weren't Alethea. They happened like 10 years before Alethea started. They weren't the right place to start the story, and my time was better spent dedicated to a story that I had faith I would be able to bring to publication and would be good. So yeah, that was the 11 signs that you should dump your work in progress. Remember, there's no shame in abandoning a project and starting something new. Authors everywhere do it all the time. In fact, it's very rare that an author goes through their whole writing career and doesn't do that at some point. Shout out and thank you again to Jennifer T. I forgot your last name again. I'm sorry. I'm so bad. Jennifer T. Jarrett. I'm gonna remember it now. That's a lie. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm sorry if I was out of it in this video. Again, I'm still recovering from being sick. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, give this video a share. If you haven't already seen the Indiecember video, check it out, link in the description down below. Indiecember is a reading challenge. I am running this December to help bring awareness to indie authors, help get them more Amazon reviews, all of that great stuff. It's a great cause and it'll help you knock out some of your Goodreads reading goals. And then if you win the challenge at the end, you'll get an entry into a massive giveaway. We've had so many donations to this giveaway, so many great books and merch and Kindle gift cards and all sorts of great prizes. For more information, video in the description down below. It covers everything. You can also go to megantennant.com/Indiecember, get all the information there. And if you want to read Alethea covers some squares too. And thank you guys for watching. As always, I will see you in the next video.